Welcome to Fun Story Clips. Here, you'll enjoy inspiring stories while practicing English with easy-to-follow phonetics. Every story comes with a small life lesson to reflect on. Don't forget to hit subscribe to stay with us. And now, let's begin today's story.
As dusk settled and the streets grew quiet, a small neighborhood bakery prepared to close. The warm smell of bread that had filled the air all afternoon now lingered faintly as the last customers drifted away. On the shelf remained several unsold loaves, perfectly edible but no longer fresh enough to sell the following morning. In most places, those loaves would be discarded without a second thought. Yet the baker, a man who had spent his life rising before dawn to knead dough with patient hands, paused and made a different choice. He carefully wrapped each loaf, placed them neatly into a box, and carried it outside to the shop's doorstep. On the lid of the box, he wrote a simple message, "For anyone in need." It was not a speech, not a campaign, just a quiet gesture left to the night. The baker locked up and went home, uncertain who would find the bread or whether anyone would even notice. When he returned the next morning, the box was empty. Every single loaf had disappeared. For a moment, he pictured the faces he would never know, perhaps a mother feeding her children, an old man finding strength for the day, or a student saving a few coins for rent. He could not know their names or stories, but he knew the bread had served a purpose. Instead of ending up in the trash, it had filled stomachs, quieted hunger, and perhaps offered a spark of dignity. The baker felt lighter that day, warmed by a joy no ledger could record. From the outside, it was such a small act. Bread that held little value to the seller became priceless to the hungry. And in that exchange lies a lesson we often forget. Generosity is not measured by size, but by intention. To give does not always mean to lose. Sometimes, what costs us nothing can mean everything to someone else. In modern society, the contrast is painful. Mountains of food are discarded daily, while homeless shelters remain full and families struggle to afford groceries. Perfectly edible produce is thrown away because it looks imperfect. Restaurants dispose of meals at closing time because policy demands it. This is the world we live in, abundance existing right beside emptiness. Against this backdrop, the baker's act feels almost revolutionary, not because it was large, but because it was simple, human, and compassionate. Not all of us own bakeries, but each of us has something we can offer. The loaf we share may not be bread. It might be an unused jacket that can keep someone warm through the winter. It might be a book collecting dust on a shelf that could inspire another mind. It might be our time, our patience, or a kind word to someone who feels invisible. These gifts may seem trivial, yet when offered sincerely, they can heal a weary soul, brighten a gloomy day, and remind someone that the world is still full of goodness. The baker did not become richer in money because of what he did. But he became richer in spirit, and that kind of wealth cannot be measured or taken away. It lives quietly inside us and ripples outward, inspiring others to do the same. One simple act plants the seed for another, until eventually a culture of kindness can blossom. In the rush of modern life, we chase possessions, promotions, and rewards. Yet, at the end of the day, the moments that stay with us are rarely about what we gained, but about what we gave. The loaves outside the bakery were ordinary, but the gesture behind them was extraordinary. And perhaps that is the truth we most need to remember. In giving, we discover a deeper form of wealth. So the next time you encounter something extra in your life, a meal, a coat, a few minutes of your time, consider turning it into someone else's hope. Like the baker and his loaves at the end of the day, you may find that the simplest acts, though unnoticed by the world, can leave behind the most lasting legacy.
Fun Story Clips.